time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition. Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod and our final after show episode for Maul Shadow Lord. We have your co-host Blake joining us tonight, as well as our friends Phil and Dan. We're going to be diving into these last two episodes, episodes 9 and 10, along with some Star Wars news and headlines, some updates about Celebration, and of course a diary chapter from Anakin's Lost Diary, and a little bit more. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Another happy landing.
All right, welcome back, sir.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Good to be back.
Good to have you back. And
Is this music celebrating
this is
that someone finally turned to the dark side?
well, it's celebrating something. There's a few things to celebrate.
That's true.
For one, we are, as of this past week, founding members of the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art. So congratulations, sir.
Oh, wow. Congratulations to you as well.
Oh, man. I hope our name ends up on the wall somewhere. But I'm looking forward to just getting that physical membership card.
Etched somewhere like the wall of Versailles.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's just, I don't know. It's just a satisfying feeling, you know, knowing that I just gave back to the billionaire that made us Star Wars. It feels good, you know.
All for a card to put on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. All for a piece of plastic with my name on it.
That's right. Or a digital wallet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll go. We'll go at some point. We'll use the membership, and the reason why we are probably going to go and bring a few friends in with us is because we are also going to Star Wars Celebration next year. That's right. Yes, and you know, I hate to almost. I saw so many people online on Twitter that, or X or whatever, that didn't or couldn't get in this year.
Dude, it went so fast.
It went so fast, and we couldn't believe it. So a big shout out to our friend Kirk, who sadly is not joining us this week, but he was able to get our group in. We had multiple devices, each of us in the queue. It was insane. So I sympathize for anyone who is going to miss out.
One person got in on one device.
It was crazy. I mean, like, everyone's got complaints about the system and the scalpers. And I mean, I saw on eBay, there was a screenshot that somebody sent out that somebody was selling their ticket for $6,600. And I sure hope that's VIP at the very least, but you know, crazy, right?
I'm wondering how that would even work, though, because I thought it was supposed to be like you can't change the names.
Yeah. I don't know how it works. I mean, it must be very lenient for them to be able to get away with it, but I think that's why a lot of the complaints are what they are. You know what I mean? So it's
Sir, this ticket is for a Mr. Kit Fisto. Is that your name?
No, the name is Plo. All right, and big welcome back to Phil. Hello there, sir.
Hello.
Hello, and a big welcome to Dan. Hello there, sir.
Hello there.
Hello.
Come to get you guys in on the action here.
Yeah, and
Phil was present for our ticketing.
That's right. Yeah, Phil's coming with us. I actually get to meet Phil in person.
Hell yeah.
Put a voice. Yeah, put a face to the voice.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a funny situation, isn't it? But yeah, it's gonna be. We're gonna.
Right.
It's gonna be a good group. We got a good group. Yeah, I know. Like it somehow never happened. I guess I don't know how
the one that got away.
The one that got away. Yeah. Yeah.
Not any longer. Not that we have celebration now.
That's right. Yeah.
Second
in
chance.
Right.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that Dash Rendar costume next year when we go to Celebration.
That's right. And Bryce has to do that too, right? Wasn't that the deal?
Everyone's Dash.
That's right. That's right.
It would be pretty fun actually if we all went as Dash Rendar.
What if we all went as a Dash? So like one of us shows up as Dash from The Incredibles.
No.
One of us went as Dash Rendar. One of us goes as like Mrs. Dash the Spice. You know, like
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Team
loving
Dash.
I think we're cooking. We're cooking here.
We're
I like
cooking.
it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with the costume that's just a big line, like a dash on a keyboard.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Skid Dash. All right. Well, so that's what we're celebrating. Lucas Museum, Star Wars Celebration, all of what happened in the same week. I mean, Lucasfilm Museum tickets went on sale on the May 4th. So Star Wars Celebration tickets went on sale on May 6th. And, sooner or later, we're going to be at the movie theater in line for The Mandalorian and Grogu, which comes out on May 22nd. So we're going to...
Coming up quick.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a Star Wars month this month. And, I mean,
it's May.
Yeah, it is. And like, on top of that, there was some news about the merchandise of the week.
Merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Because, merchandising is what it's all about, right? So there's a new replica from the Hasbro Black Series coming out, and I put this in the general chat, so I don't know if you saw that or not, Blake, but I know Phil saw it. I think Dan saw it as well. I put in pictures, but you can do it now. You can pre-order the Clone Trooper Phase 1 helmet from the Hasbro Black Series on Amazon right now. I've already put in my order.
Sand Trooper and the Death Trooper.
The Shore Trooper.
Shore Trooper.
Shore Trooper and Death Trooper. Yeah, you know what? They can suck it. Phase 1 clone is where it's at. That is going on my shelf.
You can get the OG, the white, and you're gonna wait till
Yep.
maybe like the.
That's the only one I need.
What about the Rex?
No.
This
is the only one I need. I did have the kids one way back when. Like it was a full helmet still, but it had the really fat visor.
The goofy.
Yeah, and I gave that to my younger cousins. I wasn't feeling it, but yeah, these Black Series are so nice, and man, this looks so good.
You get the clone, and you could get the Mandalorian, right? Like Django or something.
Yeah.
And they canonized the goofy Django one.
That's right.
Didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and the Mandalorian, like all the kids have the fat visor.
Yeah, the goofy visor one.
Yeah, crazy. But like right down to the little red tip on the fin, they got all the details on this thing. So, thank you to Yak Face as well for spreading the news on the merchandise all the time. But this is Star Wars Attack of the Clones.
Did you pre-order
Phase 1? So yes, I did. Yeah, on Amazon. Get that low price tag while it's there.
There's a discount right now?
Well, whenever they launch on Amazon, it's like $139, and if you wait, it goes up because of all the third-party sellers. So you can pre-order it now for the original price that it's intended to be at. Speaking of cool helmets, and I hope the Hasbro Black Series pulls this one out of their back pocket too. If you go to Disney parks and buy the Disney branded helmet, they are coming out with my number 2 choice. If they did make a Hasbro of these, but they're coming out with a Jango Fett helmet.
Is that accurate? I don't know, the visor might be slightly off.
The Disney helmets are surprisingly very accurate. So like it is weird like looking at it after all this time and going like, is that the right width and everything? But Boba Fett does have a thicker visor than Din Djarin does.
Really?
Yeah, he does. So if you put them side by side, the helmet is wider, a bit stubbier, and the visor is bigger. It's interesting.
And the more you know.
Yeah. So, lots of, I don't know, any thoughts from Phil and Dan on these helmets? I mean, I don't know if you guys buy these helmets or not.
I don't buy them, but they look cool though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably going to be proper size this time.
Yeah, the Black Series does a pretty good job with, I was talking to Darian, I don't know where Darian is tonight, but he buys some of these Black Series helmets as well, and I think he also owns the Rex helmet, and we were talking about our favorites and the ones to wear and stuff like that, and I was saying to him how I can barely get my head into the X-Wing one, because the pads and stuff really make it a bit tight of a fit in there. And I think he was saying that a little tip for anyone who does have those helmets, that you can just take out the pads because they're just stuck in there with Velcro, and it makes a better fit. But Anyway,
Would be
that's,
less comfortable, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a bit less comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, you have like thin plastic rubbing against your head at that point.
Right. Yeah. A little bit of news here from Star Wars Insider. The final issue as of May 5th has hit the shelf. I believe it was May 5th. So I went to the drugstore here and got it. It's issue number 237. Covers the month of May and June. It is the force-filled final issue, and it's a bit thicker than some of the other ones. It's packed full of content.
They had to put the rest of the whole season they had planned into one magazine.
They did, yeah. So there's a few
High
few
Republic
good
has a new
subjects in
book.
there. Yeah, I mean it's like a combined kind of issue, like all the short stories from Phase 3 in there. So they put in short stories in every single Insider. There's always a short story, and it's been very High Republic focused as of the last few years, of course. But very cool issue. There's going to be some good stuff in there, and I'm looking forward to reading it. So we'll go over some of those interesting things, I guess, in the coming weeks when we
Questions in here.
when we have some downtime, because of course it's going to be busy with Mandalorian coming up, but.
Where did the Mandalorian do battle with Klatooinian raiders? Savareen, Hoth, Kef Bir, or Sorgan?
Ooh,
That's a tough one.
that is a tough one. Do you know the answer? Is it written down there somewhere?
I assume it's somewhere, but I haven't found it yet.
What is it? Sogan?
Sorgan.
Sorgan? I don't know. I'll throw that out there as my answer.
I will tell you if you're right eventually.
I'm just gonna go. I like Hoth. I'm gonna say Hoth just because I like Hoth.
That's a fair guess. It's a very cool choice.
Yeah.
I have no idea where the answer key is on this.
Well, stay tuned, everybody.
Next episode.
Next, find out next week. All right. I guess let's dive into some Maul Shadow Lord. This is the final episodes that we're covering this week, and I mean there was a lot to talk about. So let's dive right in. Maul Shadow Lord, Episode 9, Strange Allies. This episode came out May 4th, 2026. Directed by Stuart Lee. Written by Christopher Yost. Dryden Voss of the crime syndicate Crimson Dawn offers Maul safe passage off Janix in exchange for becoming Crimson Dawn's new leader. Maul sends a mental message to Devon, and she leads the rest of their group to a meeting point where Maul proposes an alliance to get off the planet. Lawson suggests an underground route to the rendezvous point outside the city. Coming to an acidic river of toxic waste, the group slowly crosses as the Inquisitors catch up with them. Maul holds the Inquisitors off long enough for the others to cross, and then joins them. Outside the city, they are confronted by the Inquisitor's master, Darth Vader, who kills Cast. So, what did we think of this episode? Maybe we can start with you, Dan. If Dan is there.
Yeah, obviously, Dan didn't think very much of the episode.
Dan is here.
Dan is there.
I was so blown away by this episode that I had to gather my thoughts. It was a really good episode. Like it was, we were hoping that the show would end strongly, and it definitely built up to a great conclusion.
Yeah, awesome. Phil, any initial thoughts?
I think my initial thoughts are kind of like, because the two episodes are kind of go together really well. But I think you guys kind of discussed it last podcast where a lot of you guys felt like the second episode felt a little bit more like you liked it a little bit more. Yeah, but this one I found it the opposite. I liked this episode more than the next one coming up afterwards.
Interesting.
I like I thought the stakes were a little bit higher, and I just liked it. Plus, the Salacious B. Crumb version of Robot, I can't remember his name is Darth Maul's Salacious Crumb.
Right.
This episode, I thought he just sounded like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch the entire time.
He kind of did, but every time I see him, he just reminds me of Salacious. And then, so I was not to be that guy, but I was kind of glad he died.
I always liked him. So I was actually sad.
He's kind of a jerk, so I was like, yeah,
he was a jerk.
Oh man, that's
somebody really mistreated that droid.
Yeah,
it was nice of Maul to take him in.
Yeah.
I suppose when he said like master, like that was kind of sad though.
Blake, what did you think? Any initial thoughts here?
I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, and we called it.
Yeah,
we thought. I mean, it would have made sense to me if they had done the High Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, Dave Filoni had a chance for Darth Maul and Vader to fight. He's gonna take it.
Yeah,
I don't jump into the end of the episode, but.
Yeah.
And leading into that, though, how they introduced Vader, man, like the whole horror thing in the mist, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
It was so good.
I'd like to say
very Rogue One like in a sense.
It was.
You know how they introduced him at the end, like
it was. I mean, I actually got Acolyte vibes from the
little bit,
moment,
yeah.
You know, like it was
Stranger.
Yeah, a bit of a stranger.
Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, stranger duel vibes. I mean, that's what I was getting from it, which was at least one of the highlights for me of that entire show. Mm. And so I was, almost pleasantly surprised that they gave Vader the same treatment. You know, creepy in the woods, right? I mean, like this is the kind of nightmarish situation that I think a lot of us kind of want to see him in. I mean, it's always nice to see a good hallway scene, but that box has been checked. You know, it's done
several times.
So I feel like him coming out of the mist and like a horror movie, like Rook Cass just gets dragged back, into this like death hole of.
I didn't hear any saber slashing or anything. So do you think she's gonna come back? Or
I think she's done.
She's dead.
Yeah,
man, because that was all off camera.
The actress confirmed that she was killed, and she said that her lungs were ripped out of her throat by Vader.
Okay,
well that's crazy.
My goodness.
Oof. So. Yeah, I guess it's
Did
like
they make cybernetic lungs.
Food for thought. Could she survive that?
Yeah, maybe she'll get a gill transplant.
Yeah. I really like this episode. I mean, it's, I guess the obvious aside, at the very end there, I liked the tension building up. I mean, we're skipping over some pretty interesting parts to talk about here, but the way that Maul slices up that ATST walker, the way he just bosses all of those stormtroopers, there was a lot to enjoy about this episode. Like I really enjoyed it.
Something about the ATST, it reminded me so much of Force Unleashed, which was both characters or Sam Witwer.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is, I immediately thought of.
There was a few nods to the head to Force Unleashed, especially when he splits his staff saber in two and then proceeds to do the Force jump over the lake and then lands with both of them behind his back, like reverse handed. You really like it was like a pose that Starkiller would make in that one shot, and I was like, oh man, that's a cool little nod of the head.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
that was just such an intense scene too. Like divided by that acidic river, like seeing them getting picked off one by one. It was really well done in ratcheting up the tension.
I don't know who thought of the situation and how to handle that suspense with a duel happening, people have to cross. But what came to mind, and it only came to mind because I know that Dave is a big Lord of the Rings fan, is the bridge when they're trying to cross in Moria, and then the bridge starts to crumble, and it was like one of those moments, right?
Yeah.
Who is it?
This time Aragorn didn't have to hold Frodo out to get the bridge to the
Yeah, it was exactly. Aragorn and Frodo, right?
Yeah.
Were like on that tipping piece, and
that's right, yeah.
It was kind of the same suspense with having that droid and the repulsor craft lift thing that was like a 2-man gig, just barely hanging on in there, and such a good sequence of just action and suspense, and
also give them a way to escape because they can't be chased after.
Yeah,
so
and
I think they get away.
And I mean, like the Inquisitors, like you know, of course they can follow, but
Not without
they
something to
don't have what I would say is the high ground, right? Because they're landing in a hot pit of like, you know, three talented swordsmen and force, you know, users, right? Like they're going to have the short end of the stick going into that landing, right? So of course they're not going to make that jump while they're just camping out there.
Right.
Yeah, we know they have the helicopter sabers. Of course they can cross the river with ease.
Oh man, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like it's no problem, but they didn't do it.
I'm so glad they didn't do that. Could you imagine?
They didn't use them once in the show so far.
I think they realized that people really don't like them.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
They've blissfully had us forget.
Could you imagine all that like tension? They get across, and then the two Inquisitors just helicopter over and then continue.
Yeah, crazy, right? I mean, like it was one of those things I thought of though when I was watching the episode. I was like, okay, this is very, very good, intentional storytelling. We also need a moment where they have to take a breather so that we can have that moment with the protagonist coming out of the cave thinking that they're home free, and then Vader shows up, right? Yeah. Like you need that moment of like a breath, like an exhale before, you know, you're like, oh, like who's this? What's happening, right? And of course, like when Cass gets sucked into the darkness, I was like, okay, this is not the Grand Inquisitor. Like I think we all know who it is, right?
At that point,
yeah.
I will say, and Josh, maybe you can speak to this because you'll know a little more about the comic side of things in this area because you read the Vader comics.
Yeah.
Canonically, is it strange that it wasn't the Inquisitor that they were talking to and then who showed up? Or does it make sense that they reached out to Vader specifically?
I think it was, so in the Tales of the Jedi, was it Tales of the Empire? Tales of the Empire, we had a story arc with Barriss Offee, and there was an episode in that story arc where once she becomes an Inquisitor herself, she is taken to Fortress Inquisitorius, or whatever it's called. It's the fortress on Nur, where it's the one that Obi-Wan actually goes to rescue Leia in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Into it in
and in
Fallen
Order, you break into it as well. And in that fortress, that's the first time that we saw Merrick and like the bird guy, you know, bowing before Vader. And I don't believe the Grand Inquisitor was there in that sequence in that episode, but we saw these guys before, of course, in animated form. And that event of Barriss joining the Inquisitorius, having those guys there in Nur, you know, bowing before Vader, like that was, I think it's just a scene in which I guess there is some sort of direct link between the Inquisitors and Vader himself, including the whole dynamic between Reva and Vader that we've seen in Obi-Wan Kenobi. There is still I don't think the Grand Inquisitor is quite a buffer between them.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes him almost feel unnecessary.
I think he's definitely. It's almost like his position is less prominent or needed, really. Yeah. But he is the wisest and best of the Inquisitors, so to speak, and of course one of the last to be around before they're all gone. But interestingly enough, the first to die in the Rebels animated show. So
yeah, I found that very confusing.
Yeah. But
so basically, in a nutshell, you're saying is this makes sense because the High Inquisitor?
Yeah,
he sidelined.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I guess what I'm trying to say is like I buy it, you know, like I buy the fact that maybe the Grand Inquisitor is off elsewhere. Like we're still in peak Jedi purge. There's survivors out there times. You know, it would make sense that maybe Vader showed up because it's Maul, because it's not just two Jedi. It's also Maul, who is like a high value target of the Emperor.
That's a good point. So the Emperor might have specifically wanted Vader to deal with.
Yes, 100%. I think there is some good because he has escaped the Emperor's clutches more than once now.
Yeah,
like Maul has. If you've read the the Son of Dathomir comic book, which adapted 4 unproduced Clone Wars episodes between season 5 and 6, or 6 and 7, I should say. The last time you saw Maul in season 5, he was being captured by Sidious, and this was after his brother just got gutted.
Yeah,
and then the next time you see him,
do that amazing fight scene.
Yeah, and then the next time you see him, he's ruling Mandalore.
Yeah,
and in season 7, right? And it's like, okay, what the heck happened? It's because for a while the show was canceled. Not every episode was made, and then to wrap things up, they just gave us kind of a half-ass season. sadly. But some of the episodes that they didn't finish was reproduced as either a novel, a comic book, or proxy animation. And 4 of those episodes were going to be insanely cool. And you can buy them as a comic book called Son of Dathomir. And it is canon. It is incredible. And I highly recommend everyone read it if you haven't. But in those episodes, he does escape Tyrannus and Sidious. And that's how he gets back to his people, back to Rook Cast. They get the people together. The Shadow Collective is once again kind of semi-reformed. They take Mandalore back, and Sidious just doesn't have time to deal with him again. And then the Purge happens. He survives the Purge, and it's like, hey, we can't have an ex-Sith Lord running around out there. Like, he knows my plans.
Yeah, he's probably the only one. He's probably the biggest weak point for Sidious at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's definitely worth, I guess, considering when it's like, okay, why would Vader show up, right?
Can you imagine if they used Maul to then become what was Starkiller in the first game? So he founds the rebellion. Sam Witwer still does it.
That'd be a crazy turn of events. I don't know. Like, Phil, what did you think of some of the events leading up to the fight? I guess what prior to the duels did you like about this episode?
I mean, most of what I liked was when I watched this show, a lot of it is because I'd say, how to explain this. The show is 90% chases and fight scenes, right? Mm-hmm. There is quite a bit going on, but it's not as much as the action. And what I feel I appreciated in this one was there was more, even though there was a fight scene involved, but there was a lot of tension in it. And the visuals and where it was taking place is what kind of grasped me the most. I'm more of just an animation kind of guy on this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really liked it. There was a lot of tension. Because both episodes kind of blend together right now, so I'm trying to figure out what happened in this one specifically. But
it ends right as Vader shows up.
Yeah, the group kind of gets together because Maul actually sends Devin like a force, almost like
telepathic
message, kind of like a Luke and Leia thing, right? They have a connection,
which is normally between a master and apprentice.
I thought it was really interesting that they added that in, and it was really cool of them to expand on that. And Daki, he says something along the lines of so you let him in, to Devin, right? He's somewhere along the line they've formed some sort of bond or some sort of connection for him to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which I thought was very interesting. Yeah, it's not just anyone can't just communicate with anyone who's in the Force, right? Apparently it's you kind of have to have some sort of pre-existing bond somehow, right? Some sort of
how Harry can see into Voldemort's mind.
Kind of, yeah. I guess in them fighting back to back on the train gave them some sort of synergy in the Force that allows them to commune with each other a little bit.
I think if I'm not mistaken, and maybe this isn't canon anymore, but I think it needs to be specifically a master and apprentice relationship. It has to be that kind of dynamic for that to take place. That's also why Padawans and their masters as well can really feel when their master/apprentice dies. It feels like they're losing a part of themselves. It's kind of that same dynamic.
I do feel obviously during the whole show, they weren't trying to hide it. It wasn't going to be this big reveal that she was eventually going to get very close to Maul, either concluding to be his apprentice or not. There was definitely going to be a moment in the show, it was written in the stars kind of thing, right? But that was the moment that kind of cemented it for sure. It's okay, well, this is 100% happening. The two of them are gonna form some kind of a bond, probably based on revenge or whatever. But that was kind of the moment. It was just at the beginning of the episode too. It did not waste any time. It was 2 minutes in.
Yeah, it was. They didn't waste any time at all. Dan, what did you think about Dryden Voss showing up in this episode? We had a few minutes with him on a hologram making a deal. He was not voiced by Paul Bettany. I
was wondering about that.
Quite from the get-go, I was like, okay, this is not Paul Bettany, but I don't know. What did you think about all that and the connection to Crimson Dawn there?
I was happy to see him show up because I enjoyed Solo's the Star Wars story, and it's nice to see some of that being pulled into some of the other Star Wars shows. And it was cool to see his character, and as we've seen at the end of Solo, that Maul is part of Crimson Dawn, so it's cool seeing like the build up for that, like how that happened. And yeah, it's cool seeing Dryden Voss show up, and like I want to see more of him.
No, I agree. I actually coincidentally unplanned regarding the Maul series. I ended up watching most of it. I need to finish it, but I was watching Solo on May the 4th.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was actually kind of I was thinking it's actually a pretty good refresher, specifically around like the Dryden Voss side of things.
Yeah.
Because I haven't watched that movie in a long time. Still holds up. Still good.
This makes sense. The way that they've confirmed how Dryden Voss gets into power.
Yeah.
Even if there is a time jump and season 2 doesn't pick up right off the back of season 1, they imply what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might be skipping to the end here with the next episode, but I love how they set this up in this episode, followed through in the next episode, and then we are left to assume the obvious, right? Like Maul literally says to him, "I'm going to fulfill my end of the bargain," and puts him in power just the same way that he does with the Pikes and that other dude. So it's like, I guess in this instance, it's like, Dryden Voss was just kind of giving him a favor of risking his own skin to go and pick him up in order for him to just do what he's been doing already, with all of the different crimes.
He's basically saying, like, I will rescue you if you do this, and then, which more or less is just confirming that the Shadow Clone will be back, so he will then be working for Maul in the end anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But he knows his place. He's a smart guy. Like, he knows his place in the food chain, and when we see him in Solo, he is still top game. Like, he is still in his position with no worries at all. The only thing that kind of undermines him is really Kira. Like, if it wasn't for Kira, he'd still be kicking around. Solo would probably have been killed, and it's interesting to think. And then we know a little bit about what Kira ended up doing with Crimson Dawn, but I wonder if in that time the things may have gone differently for Maul, and kind of what led him to be trapped on Malachor for a while. Like, we don't really fully know that story just yet.
It's true.
So,
and there's actually another story thread that I entirely lost until rewatching Solo. Now that we know that it's for Maul, why Dryden was after all this coaxium, but he thinks he's going to be killed by Maul. Now that we know, because he didn't get it from like the first mission. That's why they had to go and get it from the mines. What does Maul want with it? Yeah,
that's a great question. That's a great theory because I think a lot of us just kind of skip over the fact that, it is Maul behind everything. What if Dryden doesn't want that coaxium personally, but he is doing it for Maul, right?
He was worried that he was going to get killed over it.
Yeah. So, what does Maul want with all that coaxium? Like, what was he planning at that point? There's definitely a bigger story there, which, I think we have yet to see. And it makes me wonder if maybe Shadow Lord will be an anthology style series where we'll have big time jumps between seasons, or...
Yeah. Man, I'm not sure if at the end, we'll get into it more, I guess, when we talk about the next one and kind of what happens.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I want that.
So on the one hand, I kind of want it for the purpose of covering the rest of his story that we haven't seen. But on the other hand, I want it to be kind of back to back, simply for exploring that relationship more on a day-to-day basis with Devin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we see the allies, we see the Jedi trust him in this episode. They actually kind of
saying, "Don't trust him; he will betray us."
Yeah, and we do see the result of sort of what happens there, but it wasn't like he didn't whip out his lightsaber and kill one of them, right? Like, I think Maul is like, he knows what's up. Like, he knows he needs the Jedi, especially a wise guy like Daki, like the Jedi Master.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that they need him around. As long as there's the threat of the Inquisitors, because he's a capable fighter and can fend them off pretty well. So
I like that one scene where Maul tells his cronies, he's like, show some respect towards the Jedi.
That was really nice, honestly.
Yeah, that was really cool. I like that.
Surprising, actually, as well.
Yeah,
really shows how much he's changed.
It really shows development.
They kind of show it throughout the show where he, like, I don't know if he softens up, but like they do a good job also of like not leading too far into it where like you actually believe him 100%. Like, maybe it could still be a ruse, just to get Devin, but also, like, I don't know, you kind of feel him softening up to the whole idea overall. Maybe that's just my impression, but
I think it might be that he's just accepted the fact that they're not his enemy anymore. Like now his real enemy is Palpatine.
Yeah, and he says that to the Jedi and Rebels too. He says the enemy of my enemy is my ally, or something he says, right? When he's pairing up with Kanan and Ezra and Ahsoka to verse the Inquisitors on Malachor, like he says the same thing. So it is interesting.
He repeats this as well. Either this episode or the one beforehand, he also kind of reiterates that statement where it's like, we're not, they're not the enemy. They're not enemies right now. They've got bigger plans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. This was the first time in the entire show that we hear anyone refer to Maul as a Shadow Lord, which the show name is based on. Daki is the one that says it, and he talks to is it his apprentice? Is it Devin, or he's talking to somebody else about it's about whether or not they can trust Maul, and calls him a Shadow Lord. So I thought that was really well done. For anyone who does want to explore more of Shadow Lord, there is a prequel comic book series. I think we dropped hints about it before the show was released, but it's like a 4-part miniseries that you can pick up. And I don't think it's in a trade paperback yet, but you can still get individual issues. And that was like releasing each week up until the show's release. And it explores a little bit about Brander Lawson, which we have not really talked a whole lot about in this episode just yet. But he didn't really have the biggest role in this episode. I guess he kind of...
it was mainly around...
more of the next one,
He got them into the escape route to get to the pickup point. He was the only one to do that. And was more or less because of that the driving force of why Maul needed them in the first place.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, the only real story progression for him was him having a serious chat with his son that he admits that he was too caught up in work and was a bad dad.
Yeah.
And you saw some moments where like he's like, careful with that gun, like make sure He's kind of like,
remember what I taught you.
Letting his son take more responsibility. Yeah.
Some good dad moments.
For sure. The last
Instead
thing...
of, tossing the ball, he's like, they're like shooting stormtroopers together.
Yeah. All right, son, remember, when you shoot to kill.
Yeah. The last thing I will say about this episode is when Vader pops out of the bushes, we do hear the faint sound of John Williams, or should I say very prominent sound of John Williams, the Imperial March. For the first time. I think that was it in this episode, or was it? I feel like it was the end of this episode, right?
Yeah, it was the end of this episode. I remember it pretty vividly.
Okay. Yeah, it was like this one. I think it might have been in the next one too, but I think this was the first one that we hear it first. So that was really cool. Okay. Any last calls for Chapter 9?
Was I the only one surprised when Vader showed up? Because I was not expecting it, and I was like so happy when it happened.
Oh, I'm glad you were surprised. I mean, I was just relieved that it happened because we'd been guessing about.
Well, we knew it was going to be one of two.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I guess I was more just satisfied with the fact that yes, indeed, this is going to play a part in why Maul is so convinced in Rebels that he can't defeat Vader alone. Like that's a line that has stuck with me all these years because it's so like out there as if he has versed Vader
before.
And on top of that, fans have been wanting to see that duel happen for so long, right? Ever since they brought Maul back, it's like, can he face Anakin? Can he face Anakin in the Clone Wars? Will he verse Vader at some point if we know he's alive in Rebels? There's all these different scenarios that people have been whipping up in their heads as to what could be. And I feel like going into the next episode as well, like this just left me so pleased with like the result of, it's like finally it came to fruition and it was a good thing. Like it was executed.
But Maul wasn't at his peak. His legs were damaged.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah. Alrighty, let's get into episode 10.
Do we want to rate it now or rate them together?
Let's rate them together. Let's rate them together at the end here. Yeah. Chapter 10, The Dark Lord, directed by Nathaniel Villanueva, written by Mitch Nevis and Brad Rao. Very familiar names there. Also, May 4th, 2026. Maul and the Jedi engage Vader and the Inquisitors, while Vario, Two Boots, and the Lawsons make their way to the rendezvous point, which is full of Imperial troops. During the fighting, Daki pushes Merrick off a bridge. With Devon distracted fighting the 11th brother, Maul decides to leave Daki to be killed by Vader. Devon sees her master die and is overcome with rage. Maul helps her escape from the Inquisitor and Vader and promises to train her so that they can have their revenge. Lawson sacrifices himself to allow his son Riley and Two Boots and Varial to reach Voss's ship. Joined by Maul and Devon, as the ship leaves Janix, Devon agrees to become Maul's apprentice. All right, so let's start with you, Blake. How did you like this one?
I definitely enjoyed it quite a lot. I think it was a good, solid finale. As Phil talked about earlier, this episode was mostly action.
Yeah.
But good action it was.
Yeah.
It was really cool seeing Vader really just feel like almost like a monster.
Yeah.
And they're like going through these fallen ruins and stuff. And then like I think they have a moment and then it's almost like the zombies appear. Vader just like breaks through a wall. You just see his hand just like come through.
Yeah, that was awesome. That actually like had me kind of like jolt a little bit on the couch. I wasn't expecting that at all. I was like, man, that was so good.
Because man, Vader's been around for so long.
Yeah.
Like he's been around longer than I've been around. But
yeah.
So like he's just kind of always been a part of my universes, like Star Wars universe since I've been a fan of it, right? From the very beginning. So we've just come very used to it. Mm-hmm. But the truth is he's a scary dude.
Yeah.
And I can think back to my youth of hiding behind the couch when he came on screen. And it's almost kind of like, is almost like a bring back to like that kind of that tone.
Make Vader scary again. Should be like a t-shirt. Dan, what'd you think of this final episode?
It was great. And like you said, Vader was like, Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th or Michael Myers. Like he's just like nonstop. Like he never spoke. He was just like all action. Like every thrust of his lightsaber, you felt like he was like, he's trying to kill you. Like you really felt like they were like fighting for their lives, just trying to get away from him.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Phil, what about you, man?
I really like this one. I thought the like again animation wise, this is probably their better episode. Like I still like the animation overall for like as far as quality goes. I know it's a TV show, so it's like not like it's not like a high end movie or anything like that. But a lot of the key poses on some of the fight shots were so cool. Like when there was like a 3-person parry at one point. Might have been the last episode, but either way, it was really nice. And to echo that sentiment about Vader, I thought like what's interesting, especially like on all the episodes or like most of the shows that take place before like A New Hope, they really dig into the fact that Vader is just a killing machine.
Yeah. Right.
He doesn't really do and he doesn't say anything. He's just there to kill. And I was wondering while I was watching this episode if Anakin inside the suit has any resentment for him killing Qui-Gon. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And if that fuels any of his rage at all, and that makes him like even more powerful when he fights Maul or anything.
That is a great question. I mean, I would love to ask Dave that, Dave Filoni, but like speaking of, just to kind of add on to what you were saying there, Dave did at a recent event that celebrated the finale of Maul did have a quote to say about Anakin and Vader. And what he had to say about Vader is he's not Anakin. He doesn't recognize that, and he can't. Anything that reminds him of Anakin, he's going to destroy. When he sees a Jedi, he's going to destroy the Jedi because the Jedi would remind him unconsciously or consciously that he betrayed all of his friends and everything he knew and the life he grew up with for nothing. He is trapped inside of Vader. And Vader won't let him surface. So what replaces Anakin is essentially a void. And especially in the years that directly follow his painful transition in Revenge of the Sith. And Maul is taking place only about a year after that movie. This is, some of the most ruthless and most rageful version of Vader that I think we get. It makes a lot of sense.
Because I feel like when we see Vader in New Hope, like he's almost politician-like.
Yes. And he's also 19 years older. And some of that initial fuel that had him become a Sith Lord in the first place, you know, is a distant memory. You know, he's lost at that point. He has lost himself.
Yeah, he's kind of just he's kind of numbed out and accepted more his position.
Yes,
within the authority of the Empire by that point.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the moment that he finds out that he has a son who is alive, that is the moment that changes him. And it's not the moment that he comes face to face with him in Empire Strikes Back. It's actually before that. It's when he finds out that there is this kid named Skywalker who blew up the Death Star. That's the moment that changes him. And so that happens between the movies, right? But like when we see him now, like he thinks his kids are dead. Every reason that he had to join forces with the Emperor, like with Sidious, is gone. So like I guess like a lot of his rage from where it comes from, I mean, it certainly could come from a place of like, well, like, I mean, that's just a bonus, you know, like having this killing the guy that killed Qui-Gon, that's a bonus, right? Like, I think for him, it's like, you know, it's also like, these are Jedi, these are enemies, you know, of both myself and the Emperor, all of them. The Jedi have betrayed the Republic. This is an old Sith Lord, an ex-Sith Lord that killed somebody I did care about. You know, like it's kind of a combined, just like, I just want to kill all of these guys because I hate all of them. You know, that's something that Vader would do.
Yeah. I feel like it's very present in like how Vader attacks in like all media. He's just kind of like, he's just a powerful guy. He just swings to cut through you, right? He doesn't care if you have a lightsaber in the way. He just wants
raw
to like
power.
Yeah,
just keep
exactly.
Hammering you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can feel the hatred through it, and I thought it was very, very present, especially in this episode. He did it to
Jackie.
All three of them. He was just like really trying to balance them, and yeah, I thought that was really good.
It's interesting though, because you could see a bit of that in Anakin, like in Revenge of the Sith, but there was more finesse to it, right? Now it's just like he's not going to try to do any fancy move to like outmaneuver you. He's just gonna keep punching through till you can't stand it longer.
And he can, because he's all robotic limbs and everything. Like he has.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I think it's more fueled like just through rage and the Force.
Oh yeah, that too. But yeah, like I mean, he is like what Obi-Wan says he is. Like he is more machine than man. Like he is just like, and like what Phil said, like he's just a killing machine. Like there's nothing that physically fatigues him. You know, he just thinks.
It's funny because the limbs are supposed to be really heavy. So then wouldn't that make him more tired?
Well, because he's just a torso. Like, I mean, his arms and legs, like they just move as he commands, like through both his mind and through the Force, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of insane when you think about the weight that you feel on your arms now.
They're just the
like
lower ligaments. Like he has like his biceps.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess he's got his biceps.
His thighs.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to have any lines in the show at all.
Right.
But I was a tiny bit surprised that he didn't say a single thing.
Yeah, it was nothing.
And I liked it. He didn't say a single word. All he did was swing his lightsaber around.
Yeah, because that's what he's there to do, right? Like it's like
I
was kind of glad. You know, I thought about that too, and I was kind of glad that he didn't have any words. Like it just felt like he was there. He was there not to waste time, but to get a job done and to just get out of there, right? Like he's not a Bond villain. You know, he doesn't have to like say his master plan. He just wants to destroy them and then go back to the Emperor. Yeah. And, you know, and I think that's what makes Maul such a great villain in The Phantom Menace. Like when we first come face to face with Maul, very little words are said throughout the whole movie. And, you know, when we see the duel finally happen, the duel of fates, he doesn't say a single word either. Like he is just there to do a job. And that's what makes him scary. You know, he's not, like you said, like he's not a Bond villain. He's not revealing his wicked plans before his enemy, before he strikes them down. You know, he's there to just straight up kill them and get out of there. You know, and that's what makes him incredibly scary.
It's just another job.
Just another job. Just another Jedi to kill, right? Like it's, that's some frightening stuff. Like it was a great episode. I mean, I loved the choreography. What did you guys, I mean, like Phil, you said you loved the animation on this, but like, this choreography was behind the brilliant mind of they said the brilliant fight choreography of Ang Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon quickly became a touchstone. So that's kind of where they found some inspiration there, especially for finding Azara's style. That's Devin, I believe. Her style remains true throughout, Brad Rao says, even as Maul falters, giving into his fear. It's akin to a child seeing her parents suddenly scared or sad, disrupting the usual feeling of safety. If your parents are breaking down, how do you feel? That's Devin. Both of her dads are having a tough day. That's Maul and Daki.
They have a nice little family.
Yeah. We tried to keep them on the run for the whole episode. We only have 4.5 scenes that aren't fighting. And we knew that we were going to be cross-cutting between saber fights and gun battles, fog, ships, all this crazy stuff. Nate and his team with Stu helped out, really worked on the choreography. How they break apart and come back together down every footfall was planned. And it was really tricky, but really satisfying. So yeah, that was really, there's interviews on the website. That's kind of what I'm reading from StarWars.com, but really great choreography. It must be really hard to do with, you got Vader and the 2 Inquisitors, Maul and the 2 Jedi. That's 6 people. That's a lot, right? Like that's
all with difficult animation.
Yeah, it's multiple duels happening all at the same time, and then you have the gunfight.
Yeah,
it's a this episode was incredible. Like just simply
there's so much going on.
Yeah, simply from a production standpoint, there was a lot going on here. Like this was an incredibly difficult episode to try and nail down and achieve in the way that they did. Like it was cool.
And it never felt too busy. Like you never got lost.
Right.
You knew exactly what was going on.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You're right. That's what I liked about it. Like I said, like it's less about like the animation, because I already said this, but like the animation for me throughout the show hasn't been like amazing. But I think that's what you were hitting on. The choreography, the key poses were so clear, so good. And this episode was kind of like because there's like, I don't know, like at least half the episodes in this show were like pure action, and this one was the peak of the whole series so far.
Yeah.
So, and it was super enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also really like the setting was really cool in the jungle ruins on the outskirts of because like most of the episodes were in the city, and you had like, whereas this was like contrast to that.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, and the last couple episodes that they've done here, it's featured some really cool kind of nature-esque scenes outside of the city, which has been really neat. So, I mean, I would love to see more events happen on Janix in other Star Wars stories that we get in the future. I mean, it looks like a really interesting planet with multiple biomes. You have like dense cities and really dark and dingy places, but then you also have like the jungle kind of, with interesting ruins and what used to be like maybe an ancient civilization there, kind of like Yavin, right? Like
very Yavinish.
Yeah, they combine so many cool elements of some of the very iconic planets that we've seen maybe before, but made something new out of it and made something iconic out of it. So that was really, really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I know you were allowed to do that, have multiple biomes. I know you were allowed in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Unless it was all jungle and there's one pocket that turned into a city.
Yeah. One thing I really liked about the duel, even though Vader had no words, Maul did. He said, "It can't be," when he looked at Vader.
Yeah.
He knew who he was. He knew it was Anakin Skywalker, because he's told Ahsoka.
He fronts Ahsoka about it, doesn't
that
he?
Anakin has been long groomed by Palpatine.
Right, and she doesn't believe it until she
That's right. She doesn't believe him. That's why their fight happens. So he knows who he is. And I thought that was a really interesting confirmation of that exchange of dialogue, because he takes one look at him and it just feels him through the Force. He knows that this is him. And I was like, man, what an amazing way for there to just kind of confirm that has happened, right? So we know that in Rebels now, when Maul versus Vader, or well, when he talks about, because he doesn't actually, but when he talks to the Jedi about not being able to confront him alone, we know that he's talking about Anakin Skywalker, and he knows it, right? And so does Ahsoka. Well, actually, sorry, no, she doesn't, but she finds out. She figures it out that same day, right? Like, which is kind of crazy.
One of Vader's classic broken mask, missing eyelid moments.
Yeah, one of the famous two. Yeah. Yeah. So there was
we haven't talked about the gunfight.
There was some interesting stuff with the gunfight, and
the E-web was cool. I made like a big story point out of the E-web.
Yeah, like it was cool to see.
The big blaster that's mounted on the ground.
Yeah, they made that thing really scary and deadly, just as it should be. You know, like whenever, like we played a board game once called Imperial Assault, and great board game. You know, if you're into players versus the board, you know, there's like an app that kind of drives the story and stuff. Anytime the board brought out an e-web, it was like, oh man, like not this thing again. Like this thing is just
hit so
it's just
hard.
a insta kill. Like if you get hit by that thing, like it's crazy, dude. You're just down. Right?
I mean, they were using it to destroy multiple ships.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
it took down the landing shuttle, right?
Yep.
And then it also was taking down laddies.
Yeah. Yeah, it was gnarly, man. Like that thing brought down that shuttle like it was paper.
It was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Crazy, right? Like, I mean, most of the time when we see these ships in space, they got their, you know, the shields are up and, you know, they're taking hits, but like they can kind of get by.
Yeah.
But man, this thing just shredded those things like it was nothing.
But you know what this actually does? This scene now makes the danger of A New Hope when they're trying to escape out of Mos Eisley more dangerous because they're trying to set one up.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's right. To shoot the Falcon.
That's right. Yeah.
There's also a scene, or you mean is it Empire Strikes Back? I think in Hoth base. I think that's.
That's right.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Yeah, it was in Hoth.
But it also makes like, I mean, you know, the Mandalorian in season 1 at the very end when Moff Gideon they're shredding apart the cantina. That they're also using an e-web, and he actually makes a statement about it. You know, he does his classic Giancarlo Esposito long villain speech. He's a villain speech guy, you know.
Right.
And he's just like, yes, that's right. This is an E11, you know, like the E-Web, you know, he like gives the full model number and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a very Esposito thing to do. But I like how they kind of work that into his character a little bit, and that thing just decimates that cantina. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a deadly weapon. So I like that they kept up with the reputation there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely know we're not going to get a Lawson spin-off.
No, yeah. No losses. Yeah. I love that they're killing people on this show, man. Like I don't know about you guys, but like I like that they're just
like bloodthirsty.
It just makes it so much better because, you know, it adds actual suspense and like thrill when there's a character that's in some sort of peril. Right? Because you're worried for them now because you know that they're not gonna go as short as to not killing someone endlessly for like 8
It's like
seasons.
the first time you saw Echo die.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
he came back.
Yeah, like it was just like, come on. And then, you know, it's just like I guess it's also, I mean, yeah, Rebels got there at some point where we thought, okay, all these characters, like where are they, right? When we get to A New Hope, like what they're gonna have to all die, you know? Like same with the Rogue One cast. It's like, you know, they're not around later, like they must all die, right? And it's like, okay, sure enough.
But Dave can find a way if he wants to.
Dave finds loopholes and you know, Dave
like
is
Rex now survives all the way past Return of the Jedi.
Like Dave is Dave. That's what makes Dave. You know what I mean? But I guess
he's the loophole king.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and I guess that's what I like about this show compared to a lot of the other ones because the other ones have very frequently felt almost safe.
Right, yeah.
Like you feel the characters, you almost feel like they're
Bad
safe.
Batch at the end, they did kill a lot of them off too. Like Tech, right?
Yeah, I guess Tech died, and that was it.
Did the rest of them die? I can't remember.
No, the rest of them are fine.
Okay, well, Tech died.
Tech died, yeah.
But we speculated if he would come back for the rest of the show, though.
But that's what I mean. Like, out of all the animated shows that we've ever had, this has been the standout for introducing good, solid written characters that were not only like they came off screen incredibly well, but they also died and they are not coming back. And that I love about that. I love that about this show.
They put the effort in knowing they're going to be short-lived.
Yes. And that's what makes great writing, right? Like that's what makes a great show. And that's what added to a lot of the suspense through Andor. You got entire 2 or 3 episode story arcs. You'd spend time with these characters and then they would die in that same season of the show. And you know, you're just like, you feel for that character.
Yeah, like heavy.
Yeah, yeah. In order to make a death mean anything at all in the grand scheme of a story, they have to have some sort of connection with the audience.
Or CT99.
I was surprised that Riley's mom never came back. Like I was expecting her to have some. She was only in one scene.
I think she's mentioned in this one at least.
Yes.
Yeah, Lawson tells Two Boots to get the kid to his mom.
Yeah, yeah, and because we know she's an Imperial, right? So she's she's on the
just
side.
Just immediately get arrested.
Yeah,
that'd be unfortunate.
Your kid's wanted by the Empire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really great scene to see him do that, and very sad as well. And I think all of us loved the character of Lawson, but this is Maul's show, makes sense for him to bite the dust. We don't need to see Riley again, and I think I'd be happy with that. Like it's not the focus of the story. This is not a story about Riley.
Right. I mean, his character is there to serve a purpose for.
It served his purpose. Right? Yeah, it served his purpose. He didn't even have that much dialogue throughout the show. This isn't the same story. They will not make this Bad Batch for Riley, right? Like the whole 3 seasons of the Bad Batch, and this is where
you're talking about.
Yeah, this is where our criticism was about that show, was that it was constantly about trying to get Omega away from the Empire. Constantly, it was trying to save the kid, trying to get the kid away from the Empire, all this and that, right?
Trying to make a happy life some boring planet.
I can tell you for a fact they're not going to do that with this, right? They're not going to do that with Riley and focus on Riley trying to get away from the Empire.
You say that now.
No, it's not going to happen. This show is too good for that to happen.
Someone clip this, because we're going to have to play it back to Josh when they make a side story about Riley.
That's right.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. I do appreciate, like you were saying, that they're not afraid of losing characters, specifically because like there was one shot. I don't know if it was this episode or the one right before, but there's like, how many characters was there before? Like if you include like the Mando, there's like, I don't know, like 7 characters that have like good amount of dialogue. It's like, how many reactions do you need for like everything that happens, right? Like they had to lose someone eventually. It's just too many cooks.
I mean, they lost a lot of background people like Mandalorians and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. But like as far as like dialogue,
brothers.
Yeah.
The one we didn't talk about last episode, he like takes the troopers out with him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, just dive bombs them into the acid. That was sick, man.
What is the Brack thing to do?
That was pretty sick.
Yeah, that was so good. Like, yeah, who does that? You know, like,
cool.
That was awesome.
Take it down with me.
Yeah, because it's like he's been shot in the shoulder. He got shot in the waist.
Times, yeah,
and he's just like, I'm probably gonna die.
It was like Leonidas.
Take these dudes out. 3 of them. Boom. That's awesome. At the very end of the episode, they get away. Daki is killed. So Maul eventually does sort of betray the Jedi in a way that it's like, okay, he's just gonna let Vader have his way with Daki, right?
Well, the way he did it was like kind of
scummy.
Yeah, kind of scummy too. Where it's like he didn't even like push him off the edge. He just pushed him enough to make him lose his footing, to make him in an awkward position for Vader to finish him off.
He kind of nudged him towards Vader or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was just a nudge for him to lose his footing.
I wonder how, if they debated about whether or not he does that at all, because he could disappear. I think Daki would have just been killed regardless if he force pushed him, right? So
that's why I think that part was scummy, because he could have just disappeared and the same result would have happened.
Oh yeah.
Which is funny because like we didn't talk about this, but a huge chunk of the dialogue through the episode was the 2 different opinions of how to handle Vader. With Daki saying that they must work together, and Maul saying no, that's what he expects. Like, he was a Jedi. He's trained to fight Jedi. We need to come at him with just strength.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think at that point, like, Maul is, he's been injured even again, and like he knows the battle's over. He knows he's lost, whether he fights with Daki or not. He's got
to learn to block his legs better.
Yeah. He's making the conscious choice to force Vader's hand to kill that target first, right?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, gets Devin out to safety so that he gets his prize.
It serves
right?
him in the long run.
It does. My question is how they managed to get away from Vader after he kills Daki. He still has time to go get Devin, and then they still have time to get away still, even though that Inquisitor runs away or whatever. But yeah. And then Merrick never flies back up again. Like, even though they have the helicopter sabers, like, he gets pushed off the bridge. We assume that he survives the fall either from landing properly or with the helicopter lightsaber, but he never joins the battle. Never joins the battle
about this. Yeah. Maybe they don't have repulsors in them till later. They don't have that yet. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe they're embarrassed, because I would be embarrassed to use those helicopter lightsabers.
I loved seeing. Did you guys like seeing Devin like just lose it and just go full dark side?
The voice effect they did too.
Yeah,
the rage come through was awesome. I watched it twice, and both times I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, it was a nice touch. I loved that. That was great.
Probably the highlight of the episode, if I'm honest, because it was just so well done.
Yes,
and you just like really feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Like, did you guys have any thoughts on that, Dan, Phil?
No, I mean, like, it was good. I don't know. I mean, like the whole season was leading up to that moment, right? So like they had to nail it, otherwise that would have kind of fell flat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
True.
it's the punchline of the joke in a way, you know.
Yeah.
It's like that was the whole purpose of the show. So you have to really hit it, and they did. Which was
and it felt believable. Like it felt earned. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, she just suddenly decided to go with him. Like, you know,
Right.
she fought it for as long as she could, and finally she's like, no, you know what? Maybe this
Yeah.
is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can
Yeah.
see her give into her rage after her master dies too.
Yes, and he uses that opportunity only shortly after when they were on the ship escaping to hand, or she's still gripping his lightsaber.
Yeah, that was cool. Like once she was fighting the Inquisitor,
Yeah.
she was disarmed.
Yeah.
So Maul gave her one.
That
of
was-
his
that was
red
really good.
lightsabers.
Yeah.
That's when you know, like, all right.
Yeah,
this
that's when
is
you know
a
I was
thing
like,
now.
okay, it's game on, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
then
official.
yeah, it's official. And then on the ship, she says, "I'm ready," like as if like, man, like
Well,
yeah,
she's gripping specifically Maul's saber that he's had since Phantom Menace.
yeah,
Not even the new one.
yeah. That was cool.
So there's probably an effect on from that saber in the Force from everything it's witnessed.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Training under
there's
Palpatine.
yeah, for sure. There's like dark force
Energy.
energy surrounding that thing, no doubt, right? Like, you know, yeah, because we saw the effect of that holocron on Ezra back in Rebels, and like that was an interesting thing to see how that works, right? So it's, you know, yeah, lightsaber could probably have some sort of effect on that too.
Well, I'm sure, yeah, because the crystal has been like tortured. Right?
Yeah.
Because it would have been a pure crystal like the Jedi uses, but then
Right.
through the bleeding effect.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. What a cool moment to end off season 1. Any thoughts to finalize chapter 10 here?
Pretty minor, but it's funny that they made the smuggler guy be the bait, the distraction.
Yeah.
You're the smallest one.
I actually like went along with it
yeah.
too. It was pretty funny.
Oh, what's his line? If Matt was here, Matt would have quoted the line. I think it's "You're not small, you're tall." He kept saying that to himself. Not small, I'm tall.
That was pretty funny.
Like
His
it's like
mantra.
a self-confidence thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Like
pretty funny.
amp himself up.
Yeah. All right. Let's dive into some Pablo points and poodoos, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. Dan, would you like to explain what Pablo points and poodoos is?
We got a rating system of 7, starting with 3. Negatives are. How do you
Pablo Poodoos.
Poodoos, yeah, Pablo poodoos.
Poodoos. The poodoos are the worst. So you have 3, 2, 1 poodoos. Then you have the bindu, which is medium, like you're just meh, like either in between. And then you have the 3 Pablo points, which is like the best.
Nice.
1, 2, 3, all the way to the top.
Right. So 3 being the best of the best of the best. Maybe kick us off, Dan. What would you give chapter 9 and then chapter 10?
I'm going to make this easy because both of them I give 3 Pablo points. This was the cherry on top of a great series. I really loved it.
All right. Phil, what would you give chapter 9 and then chapter 10?
I like chapter 9 a little bit better, so I'm going to give that one the 3. And then chapter 10, although very, very good, I think that I'll get the 2.
Okay. All right. So
We
sorry.
do have
So,
0.5s.
so you're gonna
We
give
have 0.5s. I can do a 0.5. I can do 2.5.
Okay.
2.5.
I had if it was that close, I thought you might want to know.
That's a good deal.
Wait. So okay. So 2.5 for sorry. Say that again. 2.5 for the
3 for 9. 2.5.
3 for 9.
for 10.
2.5 for the last one. Okay. Got it.
That's right.
Okay. All right. That's one of the few 3s that we've thrown out so far. So that's good. Blake, what about you, man?
I'm going for 2. I'm right there with Dan. Give it double 3s.
Double 3s.
It's so quiet.
All right. I am also giving this double 3s. All right.
Man, we don't give threes out very often, but this show was awesome. Like, I don't really have anything to complain about it.
Yeah.
Which I feel like there's always something that's annoying.
Right.
Like, something.
Yeah.
But, man, they really, like, honed this series to, like, just give you the good stuff.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like, you know, it was... Like, we're going to get more scores from some of the other guys, and I'm sure I'm counting on a couple more threes to solidify these scores. But I mean, this is some of the most, like, you know, easy to look at score graphs that I've ever seen. I mean, like, our team average from this is accounting all the scores that we've built up with the last couple of weeks. Starting from chapter 1 all the way through chapter 6 has 2 Pablo points of team average. Chapter 7 and 8 have a 2.5 team average. And chapter 9 and 10 have a 3 Pablo point team average.
Oh my goodness.
That is insane.
Crescendo.
Crazy, man.
This was everything you want in a good Star Wars series. You had likable heroes, detestable villains, like some humor. Nothing felt like filler or was like annoying.
Yeah, or nothing was like too cheesy, which once in a while we do get.
Right.
Like the humor was well placed. It wasn't like awkward or tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I think like one of the things I think I might have said this before, not today, but what I don't like about the humor of the newer Star Wars stuff is that it's usually at the expense of the bad guy, and I don't like it when my bad guy looks stupid.
Yeah.
But this one just felt like, you know, like if there was any humor, it wasn't at the expense of making the bad guy seem like an idiot, you know?
Which I feel like is what Star Wars was until Disney took over. Like prequels and sequels. Like the villains are always very serious. Well, except for the droids in Revenge of the Sith. But
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, are they really bad guys?
Like they're basically just lightsaber fodder.
They really just are.
Roger.
So I want to know, now that all the episodes are out, what was the final Rotten Tomato score?
Yeah. So now that because we started off with the premiere.
Yeah, and it was above Andor.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, at the time it was.
I think it still is.
Yeah. So let's.
I hope so. It definitely. I mean, Andor is really good too, but.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like them both. I'm not sure which one I want to be rated higher. I actually don't know how to answer that.
Andor's pretty good.
So it is currently, critic-wise, it is currently at 98%, and audience is at 92% for Maul Shadow Lord. That is incredible. I mean, like, if you compare
critics
that,
really like this.
Yes, absolutely. Like, if you
once critics are right about something.
So Andor got a 96% from critics, as well as 89% from.
It's just slightly above then of both.
Yeah, so it's just ever so slightly above. I mean, it's basically it's very close. You know what I mean? Like currently, Maul is number 1. Andor is number 2. That's season 2. Andor season 1 is just below that, and then it kind of goes down from there. I mean, surprisingly enough, Star Wars Visions Volume 1 is number 4.
But I mean, there's some good episodes in there.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. But if we don't count the Vision stuff, if we only count like canon and official sort of Lucasfilm productions, season 1 of The Mandalorian would be next. Then season 2, then Skeleton Crew, then Bad Batch season 1, then Ahsoka, then Mando season 3, then Kenobi, then Acolyte, then Clone Wars, if you skip the Lego stuff, and then Tales of the Jedi, and so on and so forth. So like, Rebels is actually pretty far down there then. Season.
Did that the movies too? Where's Empire?
Clone Wars season. Oh, that's Clone Wars season 6. Where's which one? Sorry.
Is this just series?
This is just series.
Okay.
Yeah. Tales of the Empire is
like, man, Empire
30.
Strikes Back's really low.
No, this is just the shows. You know what's last on the list? The TV special Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure.
What?
It's below the holiday special.
How is that possible?
How is that? That's no way, dude. Can't believe that.
Not enough people know that they can vote on the holiday special is the problem. Or there's probably a lot of pranksters out there.
I want to see this
Just
list. Where's droids rank? Where's droids rank?
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what I want
droids. Ewok Adventure.
I don't normally quote Padme, but I don't believe it. I can't. All right, guys. It's been a really fun couple weeks watching Maul Shadow Lord with you all.
Weeks.
It's been 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it's been.
Couple means 2.
Handful of weeks.
Few weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks. But as we have been doing over the last couple of weeks, as you might know, We've been capping the night off with a small story from Anakin's diary. Phil, do you know what Anakin's diary is all about?
No, I think I missed out on this.
Really? Okay. Well, I hope it's a good chapter tonight. Blake, you want to explain what Vader's lost diary, Anakin's diary?
Sure. So we actually needed to refuel the escape pod. So we stopped off at a local refueling station. And there on the rack amongst all of the magazines was this odd old book. So I decided to take a look at it, and lo and behold, it was The Lost Diary of Anakin Skywalker, also known as Darth Vader.
Wow.
That's crazy. I mean, like, what are the odds?
That's insane.
It's
wow.
Man, I couldn't believe it. And it looked like it was the genuine article. And I'm sure Vader's hunting all over the galaxy trying to find and destroy this thing.
That is nuts. I mean, what are the odds that you come across with that?
How did it end up at a gas
So
station?
angry.
Yeah,
The clerk didn't know. Someone just left it there.
Oh man. Well, this chapter is pretty nuts. I mean, like, this one's called what did he call this one? This one doesn't have a title. It's kind of mysterious. But what we do know is it takes place in Master Yoda's quarters, of all places. Okay, all right, a wise place to be. And it looks like Anakin is seeking some advice from Yoda. All right, well, let's take a listen here. Yoda's private sanctum. The smell of swamp gas is replaced by a heavy musk-scented cologne that smells like wet moss and bad decisions. Anakin stares at the floor. Master, I'm desperate. When I'm with her, I'm clumsy. I'm sweaty. I feel like I'm glitching. Is there a Jedi technique for, the act? Yoda, slowly turning his hover chair, wearing a silk robe.
Seeking the deep lore you are. Knowledge of the saberlock you crave.
I just want to know more about how to not look like an idiot. Yoda hops down with a surprising spring in his step.
Listen well, Skywalker. Before I was a pillar of the council, a pillar of the dance floor I was. The Ketamine King. The ladies of Coruscant called me. Because once they had a taste, hallucinate they did.
Well, I mean, that's probably illegal now, Master.
Technicalities. The times are not what they once was. Once on the pleasure yacht of a hot princess, slimy she was but enthusiastic, I performed the midi-chlorian shuffle.
The what?
Vibrating at the molecular level I was. Yes. Master Yoda, she bellowed. The foundations of the ship. You are rattling. And I replied, the ship it is not. The 900-year-old engine in your trunk it is.
Okay, this is a nightmare. I mean, I'm having a Force vision nightmare.
Nightmare, no. A dream I was. On the moon of Pandora. Encountered a group of baronesses I did. So small he is, they whispered. Cute he looks. And then...
Yeah, you know what, Master Yoda? Please say you just pulled out your lightsaber.
My confidence. Huge it was. Massive. By the time I finished the Dagobah deep dive, calling me Grand Master for a very different reason they were. One of them actually fainted when I showed her how I could use the Force.
Master, I'm literally a general in the Grand Army of the Republic. I do have dignity.
Dignity? Oh, dignity is what you have when you can't get a second date. Or now hotter once. I wanna be...
Yeah, you know what, Master? I think I'm just gonna leave.
Wait, told you about the Force grip in the bedroom, I have not.
Yeah. All right, see you, Master. I hate it all. All right, see ya.
The chosen one. He might not be.
Well, what an interesting chapter that was.
I had no idea that Yoda had such dance moves and was so fine with the ladies.
Man, it sounds like he was quite the hunk on the dance floor. I mean,
what a stud.
Pulling out all the stops. And, wow.
Man, with 900-year-olds, I reach as many smooches as Master Yoda. I hope I have.
Well, crazy.
It always baffles me that Anakin writes these stories down in such detail.
Yeah, I mean, he really goes into the narrative there.
I think he might be a secret author.
I think so. Dan, what do you think about that one?
Amazing as always. Can't wait for the next chapter.
Dan looks forward to this every week. All right.
They're the best.
Okay, guys, we're only a few weeks out from the Mandalorian and Grogu. I imagine we are all going to see it. Just a couple weeks. It is in 2 weeks, my friend. 2 weeks. That's right.
0 for 2, my friend.
Yeah. So, is anyone wearing costumes to their premiere?
That's a good question. Are people allowed to wear costumes anymore? Has that been banned?
Well, I mean, we went to Revenge of the Sith, re-release.
You smuggled your lightsaber in one time. I remember that.
Yeah, I did. But we went with helmets on over our jackets, and that was kind of fun. But I think this time around, I'm gonna put my full suit and tie on.
You're gonna wear the Mando helmet,
and I'm gonna wear the Mando helmet.
Yeah.
I got a Grogu tie from Cufflinks.
Nice.
It's gonna look good.
You should borrow Bryce's Yoda backpack. And with the Mando helmet?
With my suit?
Yeah.
I mean,
so like you have Grogu on your back.
When I say suit, I mean like suit, like black, like, dress shirt, tailored suit.
How else are you going to carry around Grogu?
That's a good point. The Yoda backpack with Grogu inside.
You're going to take your Grogu downstairs?
If I had the full replica costume, I think I probably would, but I don't think I will.
That'd be pretty cool. Is there I wonder if the local Mandalorian mercs have a really high quality.
Yeah, maybe.
Din Djarin.
There is a sweepstakes though for anyone who does have that Hot Toys replica Grogu. If you take a photo of you and him at the theater, you can send it to them, and there's one of 3 prizes that you can win. But yeah, go to Sideshow Collectibles to see the details on that. They will not
reimburse you for any damage to your collectible at the theater.
That is true. they will not. Yeah. All right, Dan, what are you looking forward to most about the movie, and then we will see you in the next one.
I'm just looking to have fun. It looks like a really fun, not high stakes adventure. Like, just excited to see where the story goes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir, for joining us these past few weeks from Maul Shadow Lord, and hopefully we catch you soon. All right, Phil, you're up.
Hello. Thank you. I got nothing. No.
You looking forward to the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously am, but I'm also like I don't watch trailers, so I'm excited to knowing nothing going in, and hopefully it turns out pretty good, because I love the Mando series, even all 3 seasons. I know that season 3 wasn't the best for some people, but I still enjoyed it thoroughly. So
nice.
That's fair.
Awesome.
Are you going to be watching it in French?
No, I don't watch dubs. I don't like dubs.
Mein Trickstop.
Only money.
Only money.
All right, man. We will catch you very soon. All right, and to you, Blake, we will catch you soon. And what are you most looking forward to about the movie?
I think similar to what Dan was saying, I find Star Wars is best served with lower stakes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they just keep trying to up the ante, kind of just like loses the plot, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Rise of Skywalker kind of gave us that evidence.
You could argue even just like from A New Hope into Last Jedi, and then trying to go up from there into Force Awakens, and then from there trying to go to Rise of Skywalker's kind of like, what is going on, people? So where it should be most relatable in the sci-fi fantasy underworld stuff, which I'm a huge fan of, is going to be good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
All righty. Well, may the Force be with you, and we'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you out there. Keep flying.
All right. And to all of you at home, I'm sure you agree, First, there's one Death Star. Then there's a second Death Star. Then there's a Star Killer. Then there's many Death Stars in all of the ships. And somehow Palpatine returned. So many things. All right, Maul has been fabulous these past couple weeks. So we thank all of our participants for joining the after show. We appreciate all of you. And of course, we appreciate our audience. Don't forget to leave a review and subscribe on YouTube. May the Force be with you.